All right, all right. So let me get straight to the point. How can we raise billions? Everyone in the internet talks about raising 25,000 from Chase, 50,000 from Wells Fargo, Capital One on 30K. Oh, that's game. I got $100,000 line of credit from Bank of America, and that's game, brother. $50,000 for some people is a watch. This is not what I'm going to tell you is not game. It's not sauce. It's business. I'm going to talk to you and tell you business. How can a person raise billions with a B? How can a person raise millions with an M? Okay? Not 300K. Did you know that if you have $250,000 and you don't care if you lose them, you are considered in high finance, you are considered an accredited investor. Let me get to the point and stop stalling. In order to raise billions and millions, you need to raise funds. Google it. How to raise funds. They call it crowdfunding, angel funding, fundraisers. Okay? So first of all, second of all, how much is a company going to charge you for giving you 91 million, 100 million, 250 billion dollars, not Mexican pesos. No offense to all my Mexican brothers, although I'm not Mexican, but how much is someone gonna charge you? Well, they're gonna go into something called a Lehman's agreement. A Lehman's agreement is something that is a formula. If they raise you, I'm going to tell you who's they in a minute. If they raise you more than $5 million, they're going to charge you 1%. If they raise you $4 million, they're going to charge you 2%. If they raise you $3 million, they'll charge you 3% on the back end when they give you the millions or billions. If they raise you $1 million, they'll charge you 5%. The person that you're listening to the sound of his voice, he can connect you to private investors. This is called private equity. These folks, they're not on Instagram, they're not on Facebook, they're not on TikTok. They are not drawing attention to themselves. I break some rules, okay? Because it is what it is. But accredited investors are going to allow you to raise funds via two different ways. Number one, you can raise funds via a C corporation. You know, there's an LLC, there's an S corp, there's a C corp. The C corporation, they call it in high finance, they call it the mama corp. They call it the mama because the mama or the C corporation has babies, and the babies are the LLCs stuck underneath the mama, which give more value to the C corp. But let me not get too technical. Let me just talk numbers, because you came to know how to raise billions. So in order to raise billions, you need to have a C corporation, because a C corporation, and relax, step by step. A C corporation, they call it a special purpose entity. What is a special purpose entity? Well, that means it is a synonym. It is a license to print money. A C corporation is a license to print money. So we raise funds via C corporation via two different ways. You can do both of them at the same time, or you could just do one of them. The first way to raise millions and billions of dollars with a B is for you to get your C Corp, and then we go through a PPM, a private placement memorandum. Google it. A regulation 506C. That's the fancy term. A private placement memorandum is something that states, and this is the paper. In front of the paper, it says, this is what the company does. This is what the corporation does. This is what I do. This is when I was born. And by the way, turn over the paper. And if you invest in us, you can lose all your money. So in other words, you know when Tesla stock goes up or Amazon stock goes up and you've put a certain amount of money in the stock market, does Amazon ever send you back Amazon Prime products to your door for free? Does Tesla, when the stock goes down, if you've invested money, do they ever give you electronic cards for free? Do they even give you a watch? Does Yahoo, when you invest in Yahoo for dividends, do they ever give you back a free email? So that's called a private placement memorandum. That's number one. Number two is you're going to raise funds via the private placement memorandum, and now you're going to expand your reach and acquire a boutique. I said acquire a boutique. You ever watch the movie The Wolf of Wall Street? You ever watch the movie The Boiler Room? You ever watch the movie Wall Street 1 or 2? Boutiques are companies that can help you raise funds. They raise capital. And they'll raise capital via private investors, hence the name private equity. Now, the boutiques can raise you funds for the private placement memorandum, yes, in order to go public. And the boutiques can help you raise funds if you want to do a RET. Well, what's a RET, Baruch? You're speaking, what's a RET, Baruch? Well, a RET is a real estate fund. They call it a RET. You can raise a hedge fund. You can raise an IT fund. So in other words, I'm making this video because there's a lot of people on the internet. They talk about, oh, that's gain, $30,000 from Chase, personal loan of $50K from Citibank, and that's gain. But I'm gonna give you the sauce, brother. You're talking pennies. If you want to build how do you think they're building skyscrapers? They're not using their cash. Oprah doesn't have $55 billion under her mattress or in her house. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, he doesn't have 65 billion in his house. They call it, he has 65 billion under management. Now, what does that term mean, under management? And I don't mean to go to another topic, which I'm not. But what people are doing in Shark Tank is, Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, Mr. Wonderful, all these folks, right? These names, they're getting C corporations, and as they're getting C corporations, they're contacting private investors, and as they contact private investors, they'll say, well, I'll invest on an idea. That's why all the people come with their products and ideas, right? I'll invest in an idea, and I'll invest part of your money, part of the investor's money. That means that the people that have the C corporation, they're not doing nothing. They just have the C corporation and the knowledge, and no one is teaching you how to do that, because they want $70,000 for you to just give you a glimpse of what I just said, because they want $30,000 to teach you how to fund via no doc and stated income applications. $30,000. That's level one. Level two is get a shelf corporation or a C corp, and then raise funds for via a private placement memorandum. So that's level two, so that you can become the next Amazon, the next Google, the next Yahoo, the next Walmart. Let me ask you something. Why do you think nobody from Apple sits down and does a YouTube video and says, I'm going to teach everyone how I became a billionaire, and this is how I did it? Why do you think they don't do that? Money. Because it takes time for them to sit behind a screen and actually share something with you, and they're greedy and greedy and greedy. So what I'm sharing with you is that Barack Obama, you didn't get the memo. Barack Obama said, you can do this yourself. You don't need a broker dealer. See, back in the day before Obama, you needed a licensed, efficient coordinator called a broker dealer. For what? In order to raise the funds. So the broker dealer would be the intermediate. There will be the boutiques, the broker dealer, and the broker dealer got his cut, and now the broker dealer gave you the money. So the boutiques are charging you 1%. The broker dealer is charging you, and now you're left with whatever's left. Barack Obama came and said, you didn't get the memo. Everything I tell you is from the United States Congress. Money and Finance, Title 31, Volume 1 and 2. Google it and buy the book. Don't argue with me, argue with Congress. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have 30 million followers. He doesn't have 50,000 followers. He don't know what he's talking about. Go argue with Congress. United States Congress. Go read it and then come back over here. I'm not making this video for a like. I am in private equity. I'm not making this video for a comment or for any validation for my convictions. Okay? I'm making this video because people on the internet are talking about that it's game to have $200,000 in line of credit. If you have 250K and you lose it, you are considered an accredited investor. So if you come with 100K to try to do business, the internet is saturated. It's saturated with so much stuff on one topic that everyone spoke about that topic. What I'm telling you is private equity. We are not supposed to be behind the screen. But I break the rules because God protects me. Now, if you are interested, I'm not selling anything to you. Don't misunderstand. I'm not selling anything to you. You don't need me. You can watch every video in this channel for free of the information I give, and you can go ahead and do everything by yourself. But if you do need someone to hold you by the hand, you can go ahead and contact me. But you don't need to do it. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Because if you don't have your financial goals, your financial objectives, if you are not written down, why do you want 100 million? Let me give you more value. Let me give you more value. Let me give you more value. In order to raise funds, you need something called, in order to raise 30 million, 50 million, 100 million, 3 billion. In order to do that, you need to have something called a pitch deck. Now, I want you to do two things. I want you to go on Google and put, what is a pitch deck? What is a pitch deck? I want you to do that. Go ahead and do that. Number two, I want you to go to Canva. You know Canva, canva.com. And Canva has templates where they're free. Everything I tell you is free. So go to canva.com and put pitch deck in canva.com and see what pops up. Did you know that the pitch deck is the root? Say what? Brother, sister, I said that the pitch deck is the root so that you can get your 30 million, your 300 million to build that 700 door apartment complex or that community of 50 houses. The pitch deck. If you want to raise funds because you're in the doctor space field, like you're in the environment of nurses and stuff like that, and you're interested in researching on how a man from Brazil, a doctor from Brazil, can operate via virtually with the hands of a robot in somebody in New York City. You need funds for that. So the institutions are gonna get you that money. Institutions like what? Google, Yahoo, NASDAQ, S&P 500. They'll give you that money, but you need a pitch deck. Let me give you more value because it doesn't stop there. Let me give you more free stuff without expecting anything in return. The pitch deck is the pinnacle. I think I said that in English correct. I speak 4 languages, mind you. The pitch deck is the the root of how to of what's the story, what's the project, how much money you need, why do you need so much money, and how much is the investor going to get back, because the investors are not going to give you money just because you're pretty. Right? There actually has to be a thought process on how much the investor is going to get in return. So that's kind of like the points of a pitch deck. There's a little bit more details to it, but the basic 5 bullet points are that. Okay? What it is, how much you need, what's the project, what's the problem, and how much the rate of return to the investors are going to be. Let me give you more value. And so number 2 is, you cannot have a pitch deck if you don't have a corporation. They're not going to give you Mr. Brad Pitt just because you're Brad Pitt. They're not going to give you Sophia Lawrence or Beyonce. They're not going to give you just because you're pretty or because you're famous. Worse, even if you're not famous. So the point is, number 2, the second point is, you need to have a corporation. And again, we go back to the beginning of these minutes of this video, a C corporation. That's why it's called a special purpose entity. Now, I know I may be speaking too fast, and I don't want to sound like I know a lot, but you have to watch this video again if you're very new to this. But a pitch deck and a C corporation. Then you need number 3. Number 3 is, you need someone with experience. So the investors in the boutique that's going to raise the funds for you, the boutiques, the people are looking for the money for you. They're not going to come and say, oh, you got a pitch deck? All right, let me give you billions of dollars. Let me call up all my contacts. Because then they don't want to look bad in front of their contacts, their investors. They don't want to look bad in front of them. So you actually got to sit down with them and say, this is how much you're going to get. That's why it's a process, all those 5 bullet points. But in your corporation, you need to have at least 3 people minimum. I recommend 3. I also sometimes recommend 5. See, if you want billions and millions, you need to be like the eagle. My multi-billion dollar mentor always told me. He said, Baruch, you need to be like the eagle. And I would say, well, the first time, what do you mean like the eagle? I can't fly. And he goes, you gotta be like the eagle, because the eagle will see, okay, this person, I could use him in the corp. That person, I could use in the corp. And guess what? If you have bad credit, don't matter. Because when you're raising funds, your credit doesn't matter. Let me ask you something. You really think that an investor is going to give you one investor that's going to give you $3 million, and you're going to pay him $500,000 every year, you really think he gives a damn about your credit score? Excuse my French. Do you think he gives a damn, a cahoots? How do you say back in the day? A cahoots? Do you think he gives a cahoots about your credit score? He sure doesn't. He sure doesn't, buddy. You're in the wrong part of town, Jack. So, a pitch deck is number 1. A C corporation is number 2. And then number 3, you need to have someone with experience. That's when the ego comes in. Can you think in your contacts anyone that, might have experience building apartment complexes? If the answer is yes, then you know 100% that someone has experience. See, when we don't talk about credit and we just focus on investors, they want to know, okay, well, what's the story? Well, what's the story? Well, the story is, we want to do this project here, and we need this amount of money. It's going to cost us this. It's going to take us this amount of time. Okay, well, who has experience? I'm not going to give a rookie some money. I'm not going to give a noob some money. I'm not going to give a beginner some money to experiment with my money, the investor would say. So this is why you need to be like the eagle. Who has experience? Who do you know that have experience? Now, if your answer is, well, Baruch, I don't have, dude, my friend, I mean, yo, I mean, my dude, my friend, I don't know anybody that has experience. Well, don't lock yourself out. Don't say, you've got me. I know people that know people. And you might know people that know other people that just will take, time to contact each other. Oh, yeah, I can help you with that. Oh, I've never did commercial buildings, but I did do flips. Oh, you did that? Oh, yeah. Brother, come on to my corp. We're gonna raise funds. You need some people. Okay, you need people. Now, of course, I can hook you up with people that have the experience. Of course, everything comes with a fee. We're talking something small. Let me give you this one last one. Let me give you value one last time. There was my mentor told me this story. He goes, it's a true story. It's a true story. He goes, well, they had a printer machine, and the printer machine um, was printing millions of dollars every day. So the printing machine goes out of service, and for 5 days, the business loses $5 million. They call up the mechanic, the technician for the machine. Gentleman goes in with his tool. He tries to fix it, and he says, "Well, sir, to the owner, sir, I think I found your problem. I found your problem." He goes, "Well, what is it? Hurry up! I'm losing millions of dollars here. What do you think is this, jackwagon? What is it, you jackass?" "Well, sir, I took it out. I took it out of here, and this screw, the screw here, sir, the screw is missing." Very nerdy. He was a very nerdy technician. It's a true story. "The screw is in the wrong place, sir." "Well, fix it. Why don't you go ahead and fix it? You're wasting my time, damn it. What am I paying you for? How much you want? How much you want anyways?" "Well, sir, it will be $1 million." $1 million? What do you think this is? Just because we make 1 million every day doesn't mean you gotta come over here and abuse us. I ain't paying you $1 million. Well, sir, well, well, I'm not charging you $1 million for a screw. What is it then? Well, sir, the screw in the market costs $2.99, but I'm charging you $1 million because I know where to position this screw so that your machine continues to make your millions. Bossman looks at him and says, "Okay, I see. Take the million." What's the point of the story? The point of the story is sometimes you need to invest a small fee. I mean, imagine this guy's making $1 million a month. I'm sorry, a day, and he crying about $1 million for a service. In other words, you can't be over here greedy. You can't be cheap over here. I know this video was kind of long, but I wanted to point out that you need three things to raise millions and billions, and that's going to be a pitch deck, a C corporation, and that's also going to be someone with experience. You need someone with experience. Now you can reach out to me if you want to raise me. Like last month, we helped somebody. He wanted to build a circus, and he wanted to, one of those mobile circus, and he wanted to go all across USA, and he had people that had been with experience in circus. He had to invest about $13,000 for a pitch deck. Did you know that there's people that charge $100,000 for one pitch deck? A pitch deck would hold about 2 or 3 pages. 2 or 3 pages. $100,000 for a piece of paper. Remember, piece of screw, right? For a piece of paper, for a piece of screw. Now you can get that piece of paper in Canva.com, like I told you, for free, and you can chop it up with ChatGPT. I gave it to you for free. Now, all you would need is to be connected to the person to the boutiques that will get you that. You can go ahead and contact me for that. So that's the end of this video. I hope you received some value. I'm generally not attracted to comments, likes, followers, and I'm generally not attracted to making money off of people. God and Jesus Christ have blessed me enough that I am happy by giving out information for free. Now, all this information did cost me, of course, lots of mistakes and stuff, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, because if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you want to say, you know what, Baruch, I want to do apartment, I just want to retire. I want some capital. Did you know that every investor, that every person should have the three buckets? The three buckets are income, real estate, income, real estate, and long-term investments. So if you don't have these three and you only have one, you're missing out. So you can raise funds, C Corporation, you need a pitch deck, you can find it free with ChatGPT and Canva. And whenever you're ready to sit down, we can go ahead and talk. You don't need me, you do not need me, but if you want to utilize any of my services, the fee is very insignificant into regards. I mean, you're thinking there's people that charge $50,000 because they know that they'll hook you up with investors. They'll hook you up with investors and you're going to make $3 billion. So they'll pay their $50,000 for a piece of paper for a pitch deck. But you see, it's not a piece of paper. It's a whole infrastructure. Because when you're raising funds, you're selling an idea. What is the idea? Remember that. I've given you a lot of value. I want you to go ahead and watch this video back again. I don't care about watch time or nothing like that. Believe me, I'm blessed and highly favored, thank God. But I'm not worried about watch time or retention like many people would say. But I just want to share that with you. And if you're someone that's serious and you need some help, go ahead and reach out. You can talk to me on a Zoom call. Get me on a phone call before I pass away. I'll tell you that. My name is Baruch, and I am from